Hello, and welcome back to another edition of the European Soccer Show. Thank you all so much for joining us, either via the live stream or watching afterwards. Oh my goodness, have we got plenty to talk about. We've got to talk about celebrations, relegations, cremations, and interrogations. That's right, even interrogation after reported spying among football teams, but more on that shortly. In the Premier League, both Manchester City and Arsenal try and eke out a gap at the top, but with both of them winning. But relief for Spurs as they pull slightly closer to safety. In Spain, Barcelona are the champions of La Liga as they defeat their great rivals Real Madrid to really rub salt in the wounds, the gaping wounds after all the fights at Madrid this week. In Italy, the race for Europe is getting tighter, as is the relegation fight. Only 1 point between, well, each of those groups, really. In Germany, the bottom three are all on the exact same number of points. So there's an almighty scrap going into the final week. And in France, we're about to have first versus second, and thank God, because only now does it not matter at all, because Paris Saint-Germain have all but clinched the title. All of that and more to look forward to this week. But as ever, we are going to start in the Premier League, and we're going to have a quick word on the two teams at the top. So on Saturday, Manchester City defeated Brentford 3-0. They are made to work for it. Goalless at half-time. But goals from another excellent goal from Jeremy Doku, Haaland, and Marmoush gave them the 3-0 victory over Brentford. And meanwhile, on Sunday, Arsenal squeaked a very nervous victory at West Ham, which we'll come on to in just a moment. So first of all, a word on Man City. They got the job done, but a word on Jeremy Doku, because for a good couple of seasons, he has been sort of like the underachiever, the one that people say doesn't have the end product, too inconsistent, and yet he is finishing the season over a good course of, say, 6 to 8 weeks. He's finishing in world-class form.
Yeah, I agree with you. We can call him the X factor of Manchester City. This past few days, he scored the equalizer away at Everton, the opener against Brentford. So yeah, he's finally living up to the expectations. It was important for Manchester City to win, because for them the thing is easy. They need to win if they want to hope to stay in the race for the title. If they don't, for example, if they don't beat Crystal Palace tonight, Arsenal could celebrate their title on next Monday. So they have this Damocles sword upon their head, and now they don't have any other choice than just winning.
Well, at the time, they got within 2 points of Arsenal before they played West Ham. And Arsenal did respond. It took a long time for them to find the winner, and they were the better side, has to be said. Leandro Trossard getting the only goal of the game, but that was not the talking point, was it, from the London Stadium? Because into stoppage time, 3rd minute of stoppage time, West Ham United thought they scored an equaliser, a precious point for them against the champions, only for VAR to rule it out for a foul on the goalkeeper. Now, the interesting conversation after this wasn't necessarily whether it was the right decision. It was all about consistency, wasn't it? Because Arsenal claiming a foul on the goalkeeper, somewhat ironic.
Yeah. It's maybe one of the most significant VAR decision in the Premier League in the recent season, because it may help Arsenal to win the league. But the question, as you said, is that was it legitimate? Because we saw different views, different point of views of the action. One being Rice holding a West Ham defender, the other one Raya being pushed and.
Well, actually, so
it was a lot of
from analysis afterwards. I think experts said that, quote unquote experts, said that there were 5 different fouls from either team combined in that. So it was slightly chaotic. But again, the whole point being that this is what Arsenal's season has been based on. So them crying, like please foul is it's not only ironic, but it's kind of insulting to teams that have been on the wrong end of those decisions.
Yeah, it gives the conspiracy theorists and all of Arsenal haters plenty to talk about now. But of course, it was an important victory. I've said that it was maybe one of the most important VAR decisions in the past years, season, maybe in the Premier League history. But in this game, there was also one of the most important save of Arsenal's history and one of the most important goals with Leandro Trossard.
Well, actually, I was going to say, so the PFA, not the Sports Writers Player of the Year was announced this week, and it was given to Bruno Fernandes of Manchester United. He won the men's prize, and I believe Khadija Shaw won the women's prize for Man City. Bunny Shaw, for those who don't know the first name. And I think many people are expecting there to be a different winner for the PFA Player of the Year, which is voted on by the players, rather. A lot of people feel like David Raya may be the most significant player that actually may well get Player of the Year. It's interesting, though, that Bruno Fernandes was sort of widely regarded as being the only attacking player this season to really excel, because everything else has been about defenders having a better season, and in this case, a goalkeeper being significant.
Yeah, Raya already won the Golden Glove, I presume. So, yeah, it's difficult to underline the performance of one of the players in the Premier League this season. I can think about, for example, Ryan Cherki, who has been outstanding for his first season, full season in England. Also, Haaland, he scored goals, but he didn't. Maybe if Manchester City were to win the title, he could be in the discussion. So, yeah, Raya could be a good example of the PFA Player of the Season.
You said before West Ham United sort of cursing their luck, and rightly so. So that defeat That defeat to West Ham had the door ajar for Spurs to take advantage of it on Monday when they faced Leeds United. But Spurs threw away a one-goal lead to draw 1-1. But that result does mean that Spurs are 2 points ahead of West Ham with only 2 matches remaining. This does feel, so the Spurs game, it does very much feel like that was points lost as well. They had plenty of good opportunities. They had the lead, but once again, slightly fragile the second they were put under serious pressure.
Yeah, they are, especially since Leeds were officially secured from relegation before the game. They should have won this one. But now, because of their form and given the one of their next opponents, which are Chelsea and Everton, they seem to be best placed team to stay in the Premier League compared to West Ham.
Actually, yeah, we should point out. So with West Ham's defeat, that did mean that Leeds United are now officially safe, as are Nottingham Forest. Forest, who drew 1-1 at home against Newcastle United. Elliot Anderson getting a late equaliser there for Forest. So it is very much down to these two teams, Spurs and West Ham. The problem for West Ham is that being not only are they 2 points behind Spurs, but they have significantly worse goal difference. So Spurs, a draw would mean that they are more than a victory away, if that makes sense, because one draw means that they will still stay ahead of West Ham United even if they won. So West Ham do kind of need to win both their final games. They are away at Newcastle and at home to Leeds. It's not impossible, but if they don't win either of those, then suddenly it seems almost impossible.
Yeah, it will be tense till the end of the season, but I think Tottenham will make it.
Well, I would argue against that simply because I know Chelsea aren't the Chelsea of old, but also Spurs' record at Stamford Bridge is abysmal. And they've still only won one home match all season. That was in the first week of the campaign.
Yeah.
So I'm more thinking like 2 points for Spurs. But then again, that would mean that they are 4 points ahead of West Ham. Hence why West Ham need to win both games. Looking elsewhere, at the start of the weekend, Liverpool won, Chelsea won. An interesting result. certainly not an interesting match, but an interesting result because this may have been the moment that the Anfield crowd finally lost patience with Arne Slot's audible boos at the end. It does seem like that relationship is at breaking point now.
Yeah, but I'm not sure that he will be sacked this season. I think he will start in the next. He told himself that next season will be his 100%. His Liverpool team will fulfill his 100% potential. So I'm looking forward to see it. We have to remember that, for example, one of their star signing last summer, Alexander Isak, has been out for the recent months, which could count. Even if Liverpool's season is kind of really difficult, I want to give it a chance to Arne Slot. Let's not forget he was crowned champion at the end of his first season, which is something we should underline because it's not easy, especially at Liverpool. So yeah, I want to give him a chance, but of course he will need to do better. And let's not forget Chelsea, because they are now their participation in European competition next season is now under greater threat than ever.
They are now, with 2 matches left, they are 10 points behind 5th place. But as we know, there will be a 6th place in the Champions League if Villa finish 5th and win the Europa League. But Chelsea are now 6 points behind Bournemouth, who won 1-0 at Fulham. So with 2 matches left, even that's unlikely. It's been an awful end to the season, but this draw at Anfield did end Chelsea's 6 matches lost in a row in the league. But even still, they've been overtaken by Brentford and Brighton and Bournemouth in that race for European competition. Speaking of which, Brighton defeated already relegated Wolves 3-0 at the Amex Stadium with a goal in the 1st minute and the 5th minute. It was a really hot start there. We mentioned Brentford already. Elsewhere, well, I mean, looking at Bournemouth in 6th place on 55 points are now only 4 points behind Aston Villa with 2 matches left. Now, Villa, about 2-3 weeks ago, looked practically guaranteed a place in the Champions League. However, they've really taken their eye off the ball, haven't they? They only managed a 2-2 draw at Burnley at the weekend. And obviously are through to the Europa League final, where they will face Freiburg. So an opportunity for a European trophy and to get through to the Champions League that way anyway. But their final 2 matches are against, is it Liverpool and Man City?
Manchester City, yeah.
Yeah. So not pretty hard games. So hypothetically, Bournemouth, who are still undefeated since they sold Semenyo and Mark Gahey. Semenyo. Undefeated since then. The fact is only 4 points behind. If they win the last 2 games, they may well jump above Aston Villa, which is unheard, which would be unbelievable. But it's not. Again, it actually looks possible now.
Yeah, it looks possible, and Aston Villa should pay attention to their end of the season, because if they miss the qualification, Champions League spots qualification, and lose the Europa League final, it could be a dramatic end to the season for them. And let's not forget the game against Liverpool, because it will be important. You've mentioned that Bournemouth were only 4 points behind Aston Villa, but they are also 4 points behind Liverpool. So
that's a very good point.
It will be a difficult game for Liverpool and Villa, because they are aware that they don't have any place for mistakes after that.
It's a very good point. Elsewhere, I mean, also Aston Villa, you obviously going deep into a European competition, slightly distracting. I mean, look at Crystal Palace. They managed a 2-2 draw against Everton. They came from a goal behind twice in that game to find a draw. But also they got through to the conference final, where they'll face Rayo Vallecano. So an English team in all 3 European finals for the first time. The only other match we didn't mention was because it wasn't worth mentioning. Sunderland 0, Manchester United 0. Bruno Fernandes celebrating being named the writers' Footballer of the Year by being involved in nothing. Right. Okay. So let's. One thing to look out this week. Yes, as you've already said, Manchester City do play Crystal Palace tonight. My money's on an easy City win, just because again Palace's rotation. But next weekend is the FA Cup finals. So hey, Chelsea technically in form if they stopped a rot of 6 losses in a row with a draw against Liverpool. Any hope for Chelsea in that match, or is this Man City all the way?
Oh, it will be Manchester City all the way.
Sorry for managerless Chelsea as well, we should say.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Okay, so we're going to say ta-ra then to the Premier League, and today we are off next to Serie A. And you asked the question, does anyone actually want the Champions League? Which is a valid point. So let's talk about that first of all. The big result, the big surprise this weekend came on Sunday. So AC Milan, who again, until very recently, were practically guaranteed second place, let alone Champions League. And they lost 3-2 at home to Atalanta. They were actually 3-0 down in the second half. So did pretty well to score a couple of goals. But AC Milan have just lost all form, haven't they? That's only 4 points in the last 7 games.
Yeah, their end of the season campaign is turning into a real disaster. And if they fail to qualify for the Champions League, it will be a complete failure of the season. And to be honest, even if they do qualify for the Champions League, I find it hard to imagine Massimiliano Allegri to stay on the bench.
Yeah, he's not warmed himself to fans, have they? Like, considering the AC Milan, no European competition this season, but also playing a style of football which hasn't exactly inspired confidence or inspired at all. And now the fact that they're struggling to score, they're leaking goals, you do ask the question, what exactly has he brought to this team?
Yeah, I don't really know. I can't answer you because it doesn't seem he really brought something. I think there will be a lot of changes this summer, not only on managerial aspect, but also on the players. I've read some reports saying that Rafael Leao, for example, is going out because he needs to try something else. He never really achieved what we were expected him to do. So some players will have to change, and it will be interesting to see how the management of AC Milan will cope with everything.
So AC Milan now down to 4th place. Napoli stay second despite their loss at home against Bologna, 3-2. Bologna actually took a 2-goal lead before Napoli brought it back, and a fantastic Jonathan Rowe goal in stoppage time won it for Bologna. A lovely overhead kick, if you haven't seen it. But Napoli stays second, 3 points ahead of 5th place. But AC Milan have been overtaken by Juventus. Juventus, who went to Lecce, in-form Lecce, and won 1-0 with the only goal coming from Vlahovic in the first minute. Juventus doing enough at towards the end of the season. Looking at Juventus, they've got the last matches are at home to Fiorentina and away to Torino, so the Turin derby to end on. Considering there's only 1 point between them and AC Milan are away to Genoa and are home to Cagliari. Do you think Juventus have now done enough? Do you think Juventus are basically there, considering their easier run-in? Well, as easy as you can with a Turin derby.
Yeah, of course. I do think Juventus will qualify for the Champions League now. They will play against 2 teams that have nothing left to play in the league. They will need to win this derby against Torino. They have the potential and the level to be up against these 2 teams. So yeah, I think it will be enough for them.
Well, the race for the Champions League is even tighter than expected because Roma have suddenly found a rich vein of form. They went to Parma and won 3-2. They were actually losing 2-1 going into the 90th minute before an equaliser from Devin Rensch And then Parma had a man sent off for a second yellow card, conceding a penalty. Donyell Marlin converting the penalty in the 11th minute of stoppage time, so the 101st minute, meant that Roma took home the win. So Roma are 5th on 67, behind AC Milan on head-to-head. AC Milan on 67, and they are 1 point behind Juventus. Roma, out of nowhere, Roma are the team in ascendancy, aren't they? They suddenly found their form, and once again, it's Donyell Marlin who's doing the business. It seems like actually the difference between them and AC Milan may well just be a striker that can score.
Yeah, we were talking about that subject in the early season when they were winning all their games or drawing with a goal difference with their opponents. I think Donyell Marlin's loan has been a real success. He has now scored 13 goals in 16 Serie A games, which is quite impressive.
Crazy.
It's crazy.
He's actually in the running for the Golden Boot for Serie A, despite the fact he's been there since January.
Yeah, he only had scored 4 with Aston Villa in the first part of the season. So he has been the game changer for Roma. Maybe too late, because they will maybe miss the Champions League spot. But we have to give credit to him for everything he has done since joining.
The other team involved in the Champions League discussion is Como, who went to Verona and won 1-0. So they are on 65 points, still only 3 points behind third place Juventus, with 2 matches left. Really could be any of them. But AC Milan, very much the team on the way down at the minute.
Yeah.
Inter did well. I mean, they did what Inter do best. They went to Lazio, who have got a big cup final coming up this week. Lazio and Inter. Oh yeah, of course. This is the match that's the warm up for the Coppa Italia tonight, I think. Inter went there and won 3-0. Can we read much into this match, or was it too much of a rotation from Lazio?
Well, it was a lot of rotations. Of course, we have said it in the past weeks. Their focus is on the Coppa Italia final, and it's quite logical because they don't have anything to play in Serie A, whether it is relegation or Europe. So all eyes on the prize.
And actually, that Atalanta, after their victory at AC Milan, are guaranteed 8th place. Seventh place. Which will be enough for Europe if Inter win the cup. But of course, if Lazio win the cup, then they get the additional European spot. But Atalanta, an incredible recovery to finish 7th place again, brilliantly done. Elsewhere in the relegation battle, as I said before, Lecce lost at home to Juventus, but Cremonese, they scored some goals.
Finally.
It was against Pisa, which seems like a bit of a bully. They were also assisted by the fact that Pisa had 2 men sent off in the first hour. I really don't get this. They had a man sent off after 23 minutes for 2 bookable offences. They've been so bad this year. Cremonese 3, Pisa 0. So Cremonese back to just 1 point behind Lecce with a better goal difference now. So the fact that they scored 3 goals actually is probably more important than the 3 points at this rate.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, but this is perhaps Cremonese's most important win of the season, because if they had lost this one, it could have sealed their relegation. Not officially, but
practically
on paper, with only 2 games left to play. So now the battle with Lecce could go down to the wire.
Speaking of which, the next round of fixtures, Lecce are away to Sassuolo, who threw away a 1-goal lead to lose 2-1 at Torino, and Cremonese are at Udinese, who won 2-0 at Cagliari this week. So with that in mind, both away this week, Lecce to Sassuolo, Cremonese to Udinese. Do you see either of those picking up points there?
Not this week. I think everything will be played on next week.
Yes, and they're both home matches. So the final week of the season, Lecce are home to Genoa, but Cremonese are at home to Como. Champions League chasing Como. Fantastic. The only other result to bring you from Serie A, Fiorentina 0, Genoa 0. it feels like it's doing Serie A proud, that scoreline. Anyway, but grazie mille to the Serie A, and let's say hello to the Bundesliga. Now, the Bundesliga is going through a funny old time because the champions are sewn up. Most teams are safe from relegation. But there's something very interesting at the foot of the Bundesliga because all three of the bottom sides are level on points.
Yeah.
And credit has to go to Heidenheim, surely, because they were dead and buried a few weeks ago. They went to Köln and won 3-1. Their turnaround has been absolutely, well, kind of unprecedented for a team that was practically relegated, right? Especially for a team at the foot of the table since February, I believe.
Yeah, we were talking about Aston Villa's and AC Milan and Napoli's difficult end to the season, but we have to give credit to Heidenheim. They have only lost one of their last 7 matches, having played against Bayern Munich away, having played against Bayer Leverkusen. So they put everything they could to have their fate into their own feet, and now they are likely to hold on to the spot in the playoffs. Sorry.
Well, we should say as well, they are no longer bottom. They jumped ahead of St. Pauli. St. Pauli, who lost 2-1 at RB Leipzig. But obviously, I was going to say, on goal difference, they're all on the same points. Wolfsburg, Heidenheim, and St. Pauli. Wolfsburg thought they'd gotten a precious point at home to Bayern, but another late Michael Olise goal in the 10th minute of stoppage time.
Yeah.
I've heard that somewhere before. It's a bit of deja vu. Meant that Wolfsburg were also went home without any points. But currently, Wolfsburg are in the playoff position, and they play St. Pauli in Hamburg on the final week of the season. So, in regard to the relegation teams, Heidenheim are at home to Mainz and St. Pauli are at home to Wolfsburg. I personally think Heidenheim are favourites to do this, aren't they?
Yeah, I do too, especially since Mainz aren't in the best form of their season.
Since they got knocked out of the Conference League, didn't they? And since then it's been poor. They lost at home 3-1 to Union Berlin this week. So not great form for Mainz.
It wouldn't be a surprise that the coach use youth player to give them a start in Bundesliga. So it could be a dramatic turn-off event for Wolfsburg and St. Pauli if Heidenheim were to win.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's going to be absolutely fascinating. We should also say that Wolfsburg have it in their own powers. If Wolfsburg win, then they have the better goal difference. But currently, Heidenheim are on -29. St. Pauli are on -29. This is how close it is. So Heidenheim are above St. Pauli, not on goal difference, on goals scored. Which is kind of insane. Also, I looked this up. Apparently, St. Pauli have only scored 28 goals.
Yeah, which is
kind of crazy. But also says like their defense is actually not that bad. It's just like the problems have been scoring goals. Fair enough. Okay, so we are going to look at the other end of the table. As we said, Bayern won at Wolfsburg. Dortmund are now guaranteed second place. They beat Frankfurt 3-2. And also, RB Leipzig are now guaranteed third place after their victory against St. Pauli. So the top three are guaranteed now. They're settled. And it's hard to argue against the fact that they are the first, second, and third best teams in Germany at the minute.
Yeah, that's true. We've talked about AC Milan's not playing European football this season, so they could focus on the Serie A. It's the same for Leipzig, but they have done what they needed to going back to the Champions League. So it's a good season for Leipzig, even if they maybe thought they could end up second in the league. But the important is done with this qualification.
Yeah. Now, fourth place, the last Champions League spot, is a lot more interesting. So currently, that position is held by Stuttgart, who defeated Bayer Leverkusen. They started the weekend level on points. Bayer were ahead, I believe, on goal difference, but now Stuttgart have overtaken them. Stuttgart actually came from a goal down to win that, 3-1. So now Stuttgart are fourth on 61 points, 3 points ahead of Bayer with only one game to go. That might be it for Leverkusen, mightn't it? We should also say that they are currently sixth as well after Hoffenheim defeated Werder Bremen 1-0. So they are also 3 points behind Hoffenheim. So it does seem like going into the final week of the season, it's between Stuttgart and Hoffenheim for that final Champions League spot.
Yeah, and as I said last week, I think Hoffenheim will get the spot. Stuttgart, they will play Frankfurt.
Frankfurt, who are
at Frankfurt. Frankfurt are in the battle to qualify for European competition next season, while Hoffenheim will play Gladbach, who have nothing left to play. So,
but we should also say at Mönchengladbach. I believe they lost 3-1 against Augsburg this week. I do see a point. There is an opportunity for Bayer if they could. They're at home to Hamburg, so of course if they win by a decent amount, say 3 or 4 goals, and both Stuttgart and Hoffenheim lose, then Bayer can leapfrog them. But it is asking a lot, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. And there will be another battle. It's the one for the Conference League because Augsburg could qualify for European competition for only the second time in their history. So it would be interesting.
Yeah, so currently Freiburg, who did lose at Hamburg 3-2, although that was obviously a rotated side after they got through to the Europa League final. So Freiburg are currently 7th on 44. Frankfurt are on 43 and Augsburg are on 43. So opportunity for all three of those teams to get a European place next year. We got something coming through. We've got just someone saying, hi, hello. Well, hello, hi to you. Bonjour, as my colleague would say, probably in a better French accent than that, I imagine. Right, that's it for the Bundesliga. We're rocketing through. But we have, just to remind you, one match left in the Bundesliga. All exciting. Unless, of course, you are Freiburg, who also has a European final against Aston Villa coming up. Who do you think, for the Europa League, who do you think between Freiburg and Aston Villa are looking best at that?
It's difficult. I would go with Aston Villa because of Unai Emery's love for Europa League.
Yeah, he does seem to be the guy, doesn't it? We've Lisa asked the question, how can you answer me? Because this is live. So please don't write anything rude or insulting. Otherwise, well, it'll just make us cry. Yeah, I have to agree. Like Unai Emery just has sort of magic powers in that competition, doesn't he? Although you had to remind me that he has lost a final, but then that's when he was Arsenal manager. It doesn't really count. Right. Dankeschön to the Bundesliga. Thank you, Lisa, for not writing it. She says, I won't. Bless you. Bless your heart. Right. Where are we going next? We're going to Spain. We're going to La Liga. La Liga. Okay, so I'll be honest. The fight for relegation is really where it's at. But thank you, Lisa. Yes, the relegation fight is the thing that everyone is sort of talking about, considering how many teams are involved. But we do have to start with El Clasico, Barcelona against Real Madrid, and Barcelona winning 2-0, which means for the first time in their history, they win La Liga by defeating their greatest rivals. Yeah. I mean, this couldn't be even better. The night for Barcelona couldn't have been any better, could it?
Yeah, it's a real humiliation for Real Madrid to have been beaten at Camp Nou by Barcelona. But there were some many subjects outside the pitch during the weeks that what happened on the pitch almost being forgotten by everyone because of the brawl between Tchouaméni and Valverde, Kylian Mbappe's situation and everything.
Before we go on, should we go through a timeline of what's happened? So first of all, before I think it was actually before we were on air last week, there was a fight between, was it Antonio Rudiger and
Antonio Carreras?
Okay, so yeah, there was a falling out between those two, and then there was the last round of fixtures, and then there was a falling out between Valverde and Tchouaméni, part one, But then that passed. Mbappe then was insulted a member of the coaching staff before he was seen laughing as he drove away from a training pitch and on holiday with his partner, as opposed to rehabilitating. And then there was Valverde Tchouaméni fallout part 2, where there was some kind of scuffle, and in which Valverde fell, hit his head on a table, and had to be brought to hospital. I mean, this is insane, isn't it? And yet, it does seem like. Is it Florentino Perez, the president? His answer to this is bringing in Jose Mourinho. So, this is not. I suppose the term is box office, isn't it? Because this is just grab popcorn, delicious, salty.
It was like I was watching a WWE show. It was WrestleMania season last month, and I think it was like the night 3 of WrestleMania. It was incredible, but on a more serious note, it shows that even an institution like Real Madrid isn't immune to dressing room troubles and everything's going up and everything around. So it's interesting to see.
So also something we should probably discuss is after this match, it came out that there was a petition, I forget where, but there was a petition among Real Madrid fans that was signed by more than 1 million people, with slightly tongue-in-cheek, saying that they should sell Mbappe, because since signing Mbappe, Real Madrid have won diddly squat, a big fat 0. Is Mbappe rubbish?
I think it's difficult because, of course, Mbappe incarnates the Real Madrid project. When he joined, we all said that he could make Real Madrid great again, even if they had won the Champions League 2 months earlier. But since the departure of Cristiano Ronaldo, Mbappe is maybe the greatest forward they had. All respect due to Vinicius Junior, of course, and Karim Benzema. But in terms of image and everything. And now, since Mbappe joined, they have been trophyless for 2 seasons. And the dressing room seems to have implemented. So, of course, imploded. Sorry. Of course, he incarnates this failure, but I don't think he's the only the only problem at Real Madrid.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, he's an insane player and utterly world class. But the problem is the same problem as it was at the start. 2 seasons later, the same issue of him and Vinicius Junior can't seem to play together. Ancelotti, who is the master of man management and tactical tweaking, couldn't get those two working together in a significant way. Alonso couldn't find a way to do it. Yeah. And we're forgetting the fact that Rodrigo, who is actually his best position, is on the left-hand side. So that's 3 world-class players all playing in the same position and trying to force it. So 2 seasons later, it seems like this experiment doesn't work. Surely there hasn't been any evidence in the contrary.
Yeah, and we shouldn't forget about Jude Bellingham too, because he has been said to have some problems with Kylian Mbappe. In the early season, we saw that the relation that worked at Real Madrid was between Kylian Mbappe and I forget his name. Arda Güler. And then Bellingham came back from injury. Xabi Alonso was dismissed from his role, and everything went bad for Real Madrid. So.
It's part of me thinks all of this last week has been deliberate to try and sort of distract from Barcelona winning the title, because there's a lot more fun talking about Real Madrid exploding or imploding than what the simple fact, which is Barcelona have been by far the best team in La Liga. Immense credit has to go to Hansi Flick, who, let's not forget, the morning of El Clasico found out that his father had passed away. So an incredibly emotional time for him, but also what a team bond at Barcelona currently, considering like how close all of the players seem to be, including with the coaching staff as well. Despite all the financial issues, Barcelona are looking great, aren't they?
Yeah, and they could even finish the season with 100 points, which is impressive. Hansi Flick has done miracles with the squad he got. He never complained about missing some players and everything. He will now extend this contract at Barcelona, so I think he is the best manager for Barcelona right now.
We should probably take you through some other results. Elsewhere, Celta Vigo won at Atletico Madrid. We should also say that because Rayo Vallecano got to the final of the Conference League, that La Liga are guaranteed that extra fifth place for the Champions League, which is currently Real Betis, who went to Real Sociedad, drew 2-2. They're actually winning 2-0 with only 10 minutes left and threw that away. So Betis 4 points ahead of Celta Vigo with 3 matches to go. So that could be the final dash for the Champions League.
No, it's over. Real Betis are guaranteed to come back to Champions League because they played yesterday and they won.
Oh, of course they did. Sorry, I haven't updated that.
And it's the first time. It's the first time in 21 years they will be back in the Champions League. So
sorry, I should point out that all my notes I did because I thought we were recording yesterday. So apologies.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Yeah, made to look like an amateur. But either way, even still, Celta Vigo going for Europe, along with Getafe, Real Sociedad also already have Europe, having won Copa del Rey. But Athletic Club, Osasuna lost at Levante on Friday. Levante defeating them 3-2. Again, came from 2 goals down, and Levante turned it around, won a goal in the last minute, which means that they are still clinging on to their La Liga status. That's 3 wins in 5 matches for the team in second to last place. Brilliant turnaround. Other teams.
So have you seen that Levante won yesterday too?
No, I didn't. Oh my God.
So they are now out of the relegation zone.
I'll tell you what. Do you want to take this section? Because I'm clearly not. What happened
No,
yesterday?
I think there were only 3 games yesterday. For you to know, Levante beat Celta Vigo 3-2. Real Betis beat Elche 2-1, and Osasuna lose to Atletico Madrid 2-1 too. So this is the updates from yesterday night.
See, this is the problem of doing recordings on Wednesday, midweek matches.
Yeah.
Okay, I mean, one thing we do know, I know this, is Real Oviedo are relegated now. They drew
no, it was a joke.
They drew at home against Getafe. Getafe, they've done so brilliantly since the turn of the year. They are now in 7th. Are they in 7th place? I actually don't know anymore.
They are. Yeah.
But there was a missed opportunity against Oviedo because had they won that, Getafe would have been in prime position to get the Europa League potentially. But yeah, drop points against the bottom of the table. Bit disappointing.
Yeah, it's a bit disappointing, especially since they have now 1 game in hand compared to Celta. They could grab some points and maybe qualify for the Europa League. But I'm sure they will be satisfied if they are to qualify for the Conference League.
Again, we remind ourselves that they were in the relegation zone only a few months ago. Brilliant turnaround. Elsewhere, their rivals, Athletic Club, at the weekend lost at home to Valencia 1-0. Valencia now basically safe. We can never be certain with La Liga, but they are practically safe.
And they are in contention for the Conference League too, if we just talk about points.
Of course. Yeah, absolutely.
Which is also impressive. Yeah,
absolutely
which is
mad. So the ones we're really looking at the bottom of the table now. So Levante have climbed out. So Alaves played Barcelona tonight, I think. Elsewhere, Girona have to play Real Sociedad. So Alaves and Girona, suddenly, they had that period where they sort of got enough points to appear safe, but they've been dragged back into it. And it does feel like teams like Espanyol, Girona, and Alaves are most at risk because, I mean, let's forget, Espanyol have not won a match this year.
Yeah. Do you want the updated table?
Yes,
because...
Please. Yeah, because I don't know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, on 13th place, Sevilla with 40 points.
Okay, I have that. That's fine.
Yeah. Elche on 14th place with 39, as Mallorca in 15 and Levante in 16th. And Espanyol with also 39 points. They are 17th.
Wow.
There are 5 teams with 39 points because Girona has 18th or also on.
Yeah.
But yeah, Espanyol, it's dramatic because
much like, sorry to interrupt, but it's much like the in Serie A with Cremonese and Lecce.
Yeah.
So like, it's not about how many points you get; it's who has the worst goal difference. Because you just don't lose by many goals, you'll be fine. That's currently the situation. Like the fact that certain teams drop because they lost by more than a goal.
Yeah, but remember, Espanyol, we were talking about them to compete in European competition next season, and they are now on the verge of the relegation, which could be dramatic for them.
Should we abandon La Liga, considering I am clearly not up to date? Although we should say another victory at the weekend for Sevilla, so an enormous turnaround for Sevilla, getting two precious victories back to back. Right. Okay, well, that was messy.
It's fun. It's the things of the life.
Yeah. Well, we're going to go over for the final stop, as ever, to Ligue 1. Tantalizing prospect this midweek tonight, I believe, as second place Lens hosts first place Paris Saint-Germain. But it doesn't matter. That's right. The league sort of delayed it until it was too late. Lens did defeat Nantes on Friday, which meant that Nantes are relegated. That is confirmed. But also, I mean, we should say Paris Saint-Germain haven't officially won the league. They found a late goal through Doué to defeat Brest 1-0 in Paris. So they are 6 points ahead with 2 matches left. But the goal difference is insurmountable, isn't it? So Paris Saint-Germain have, but enormous credit should go to Lens, who we should also say that haven't been bitter about this strange delay of the match against Paris Saint-Germain, because from the scenes that we saw after their victory against Nantes, they were like serious celebrations about qualifying for the Champions League. They've done a wonderful job.
Yeah, they have. And just for you to know, for the viewers to know, if PSG just win 1 point tonight, they will be crowned champions. But yeah, credit to Lens for their season. They want to beat PSG tonight. Pierre Sage, who has been named manager of the season in Ligue 1, has said it because he wants to cause difficulties to the champions to be. So it would be uninteresting, even if it's a shame that their game wasn't played on the it was the 29th match day of the season, as it should have been, but it would be interesting to watch.
Speaking of the manager of the season, the player of the season was awarded to Dembele, wasn't it? Despite the fact he's only started 9 matches. Isn't that a bit strange?
Yeah, it is. It is. In my opinion, a complete disgrace for the league, because you can't seriously be nominated as the player of the season with only 9 starts. Even if he played 20 games, his stats are I think he scored 10 goals and assisted on 6 occasions.
So
yeah, it's great stats.
So who do you think is more deserving of Player of the Year?
For example, it's difficult to say, but for example, Esteban Le Paul, who is the top scorer at Rennes, he hasn't been nominated in the last 5 players. Vitinha could
I was going to say, so like for me, like there are more significant players at Paris Saint-Germain in midfield rather than forwards. Like Vitinha and João Neves, they interesting one. But we should probably talk. But Lens are guaranteed second place now, because there's only 1 match left. The final match day of Ligue 1 coming up. And my goodness, it's an almighty scrap for that Champions League spot. In third place is Lille, who won 1-0 at Monaco, which means Monaco can no longer qualify for the Champions League, and are in a scrap with Marseille for the last European spot at all. So yes, Lille are currently third on 61. They've leapfrogged Lyon, who lost at Toulouse 2-1. And Rennes are in 5th place on 59. after they defeated Paris FC 2-1. So, Lille, Lyon, Rennes, 2 points apart. Who do you think is going to do this? I should probably say, so the final match of the season, Lyon are at home to Lens. Lille are at home to Auxerre, who are fighting for their lives at the bottom. And Rennes are at Marseille. Who do you think is third and fourth?
I think it will stay the same. Lille will beat Auxerre, even if it will be a difficult game. And Lyon will beat Lens, because Lens will be playing in the...
It's rotating, won't they?
Yeah, because they will be playing in the French Cup final next week. So they will want to avoid missing injuries or suspension. So I think Lyon will win this one.
Yeah, it's hard to argue with you. It's a bit of a strange end to the season. Marseille, speaking of dressing room unrest at Real Madrid, Marseille was a strange one this week, wasn't it?
Yeah.
For those
as
who don't
always,
know, would you like to explain what happened?
Marseille, we heard a lot of things because they had a terrible season. They went to a camp to try to reinforce the group and everything, but there are some polemical subjects, like Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang and some players have partied with.
Well, I believe the story. I was
with...
going to say that I believe the story was that several of the players, including Pierre Aubameyang, burst into one of the coaches' dress rooms and then basically unloaded a fire extinguisher.
Yeah, that's right. So it has been a terrible season for Marseille, and big awful because they will play Rennes at home, and they are not guaranteed to play in Europe next season, which would be terrible for them.
Absolutely. We should say if they do defeat Rennes, they will leapfrog them into fifth place, and that's a Europa League spot. But if they don't, then a draw will be enough for them to get this Conference League playoff spot. But that, for where Marseille were, that is a real failure.
Yeah, because many observers believed them to end the season on the podium, maybe to compete with PSG. So the season is a failure for Marseille, whatever it happens.
Speaking of failure, Nice. So it was Auxerre against Nice last week with brilliant fun. Nice led that game, but Auxerre turned it around to win 2-1 at home, which means that Nice are now in that relegation playoff spot, dropping down beneath Auxerre. But Le Havre have sort of snuck down that way, haven't they?
Yeah.
They only 1 point ahead of Auxerre and Nice. Nice on the last day, they played bottom of the table Metz. So you'd think that Nice should pick up the point needed to jump back above Auxerre and Le Havre. So it was nice while it lasted. Sorry, it was Nice while it lasted. But also, even if Auxerre do finish there, you feel like actually they've developed enough momentum to go into that relegation playoff with some confidence.
It will be a tough battle because Auxerre, they will play at Lille. You've mentioned the Nice home game against Metz. So I think they will win this one. But Le Havre will go and play to Lorient, which is never an easy away game. So be careful, because if Auxerre were to draw at Lille and Le Havre to lose at Lorient, Le Havre could be the
surprise.
So it would be interesting.
Something to keep all of our eyes on. What was that?
Yeah, and even another possibility is that Nice, Auxerre, and Le Havre win their game, and Angers don't. While Angers could be also in the. Oh no.
Never mind. I was going to say they drew 1-1 against Strasbourg.
Yeah, they drew. Sorry, I thought they lost.
It's fine. So keep your eyes on Nice, Le Havre, Auxerre for the final games of the season. Right, that's the end of our league roundup. Things we might have missed. I'm going to go to the WSL. Congratulations to Manchester City, who won the league title after Arsenal failed to beat Brighton. But also, Man City are going to the Women's FA Cup final. They were losing 2-0 at Chelsea with only 5 minutes to go, and yet somehow turned it around to win 3-2. Bunny Shaw, again, proving the real difference there, scoring in the 9th minute of stoppage time, I think. And they will face Brighton, who have reached their first ever FA Cup final, which is very exciting for them. They also won 3-2 away in the semi-final against Liverpool. Very exciting. Anything we may have missed off from your end?
Oh, I have two. The first is that I want to pay tribute because today we were told about the news that Fleury Dinalo, who is Lyon all-time leading goal scorer, has passed away at 83. He played for Lyon in the 60s and the early 70s. So, true legend of the game in France. So, just some respect. And the other one is that I don't know if you watched the TV show Ted Lasso.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, yes, I've seen this news.
Yeah, that the actor who plays Daniel Rojas, so Christopher Hernandez, has signed a professional contract with the American Second Division club El Paso Locomotive. So, funny story.
That's very fun. Life imitating art, eh? Okay, something else we may have missed. Obviously, we kept you up to date with the Rochdale York City story. Well, it was the final of the playoffs, and Rochdale did it again. They were losing 2-0 with only 10 minutes to go, and they equalised in the 7th minute of stoppage time. Like, they were in their late goal. They ended up winning on penalty. So Rochdale have also been promoted with York City, which you feel is justice done. But also a story that came out in the last week, which was just as well, because if you remember me telling you that there were 2 separate pitch invasions when Rochdale hosted York City, during Rochdale's slightly early pitch invasion, turned out that one of the fans spread part of his father's ashes on the centre spot mere moments before York City then equalised and got promoted instead. So thankful for him and his family who ended up.
Rest in peace, mate.
Yes, well, at least they get to experience league football, so that wasn't all for nothing. Yeah. Something else you may have mentioned. I said earlier on some keywords like celebration, relegation, interrogation. The cremation was a reference to the last one, but the interrogation. You may have seen this. So the final of the Championship playoff has been confirmed. Hull City will face Southampton. Whoever wins that will be in the Premier League. Or will they?
Because Southampton are threatened with exclusion.
Yes. So, Southampton have been accused of cheating, and they have not denied it. So one of a staff member on their behalf was caught filming his training. Which is very much against the rules. You may have remembered this story from sort of like 7-8 years ago. Marcelo Bielsa was caught doing it, spying on Frank Lampard's derby. But the difference was, technically, there were no rules at the time that they'd broken. It was just unsporting. Yeah. Now there are rules. So Middlesbrough, they've just lost to Southampton last night, 2-1 after extra time. But that may not be the end of it. Southampton may have sporting sanctions for breaking the rules so brazenly.
But if you want my opinion, I would like to, because I have no links with either club, but I would like Hull City to get promoted because I want to see new teams in the Premier League.
Fair, although I would say they've probably been out of the Premier League as long as Middlesbrough. Although I would also say that I don't think either squads are that good, to be honest. I think either way, these two are going to be sort of like favourites at the bottom of the table next season. But yeah, I support that. Also, I just like any team that is cheating. Like, no, kick them out. Screw that. No.
Yeah, but it's a funny story.
It's fun stuff. As a neutral, it's very fun. Other things we may have missed. Keep your eyes out for tonight because the penultimate round of the Scottish Premiership is playing. And we'll see if it goes down to the final week when Celtic host Hearts. The last things to talk about, our favourite Portuguese team, AVS. I thought you'd like to know of their recent travails. So obviously we waited a long time for them to win their first game of the season. They are now 5 games undefeated, which is quite fun. But unfortunately, they are still going to finish bottom because the team above them have also won their last 2 matches. But in this run of undefeated, they drew at Sporting and they defeated Porto, which is quite good. So good for AVS, ending the season strong. But finally, Scoopy Watch. Scoopy Watch. They are still without a win. Their last 5 results have been losing 7-0, 4-0, 5-1, 7-0, 6-0. So yeah. By the way, their goal difference is minus 102. If you're interested, after 31 matches. Yeah. But this is the thing to watch out for next week. The next match, they are at home against the team above them. Fair, they are 30 points above them, but still, it's their nearest challengers. So next week could be the moment that Scoopy finally win a match this season, and then literally every team across every European competition will have won at least one match. That's it. That's us for the European Soccer Show. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you, Leo, as ever.
Thank you, Daniel. Thank you to everyone having watched us.
Yes, I mean, I guess we're going to be chatting to you in about 5 days, considering how late this show was. But yes, keep your eyes out for results tonight and the rest of the midweek. Next week, lots of other exciting things to look forward to. We'll have more champions, more trophies, or it's that part of the season when everything comes together and it's juicy. Have a great week, everybody, and we'll see you in a few hours, I'm sure.
Goodbye, everybody.
Adieu.
Adieu. Au revoir. Because adieu is like
I'm not listening.
Farewell. Au revoir is we will meet again. Goodbye.